Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Anarchy Analysis series, where we are taking a deep dive into T1 in this team breakdown. The other team in the World's Final, it's certainly fitting we give them a little bit of a breakdown as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off in the top lane, we have Zeus. This guy is arguably the most pop-off top laner in the World Championships this year. Arguably an MVP candidate, if not the best top laner in this championship, with the highest kills per game, with the highest assists per match, as well as the highest goal per minute, and also CS per minute. This guy just is dominating lane, building a lane kingdom for himself, and with the highest assist stat, this is kind of telling of how this guy plays. He beats and bullies his opponents into the graves and the ground, then transitions into assisting the rest of the map, and more specifically that bot lane. And this is a huge thing about T1. They are very top centric early game and very bot centric late. And we see that through how they play. And Zeus, as a player, picks carries. He's not the type of person to go towards the likes of the Ornns or the Gragas. He's very known for his Yone, his Jace as well. And then the rest of his picks slide in just ever so comfortably into that carry metric top lane. Next up we have Owner. Now, while his stats aren't very telling of what this player is doing, he is very high in assists. That's one thing about the top half of the map for T1 is they all champion the assist tab. Owner sitting at 9.2, very telling that he is going for these assists in games. Now, as a whole, he is setting up Zeus early, with most of his kills / assists in the early game, more specifically pre-15, are towards their top half of the map. And what we do actually see is T1 putting a lot, and I do mean a lot, of preference onto that Rift Herald, as they want to secure that for themselves and allow them to essentially get the carries rolling with a huge influx of gold. And with the likes of his Sejuani and Lee Sin, this guy is essentially setting up a lot of picks for his team, and then if needs be, he can carry on his own with a Viego pick. That's why his KD is so goddamn high, is because he gets this Viego so goddamn often. But yeah, Owner down, let's move into the mid lane. And in said mid lane is the GOAT. Faker Daddy, or Faker as people who don't know him call him, is just here to be a silly goofy man and win another world championship. This world final is going to be very interesting because he's going against probably the MVP of this entire tournament, Zeka. But Faker is here to absolutely dominate, and while he isn't picking up as many kills as what he was known for, he is setting up the rest of the map. 6.5 for assists, and vision score per minute being considerably high for the mid lane as well, just shows you he has transitioned from being the main carry for T1 to being this guy who sets up the rest. He is giving Zeus a platform to perform, as well as Guma. And that is something you wouldn't have thought of from Faker all those years ago when he won that World Championship. But yeah, this man is on another level in terms of setup. And while the picks don't reflect him going for setup, he certainly does have the potential to carry as well. The Akali, Sylas and Victor being prevalent picks. He can play pretty much anything, as there's no real, set pick for Faker, as he's playing the Enchantress head hunting picks in the likes of the Lissandra and the Rise, But he's also playing these assassins in the Sylas and the Akali. Yes, I class Sylas as an assassin, even though he isn't really technically. But he is playing the pick potential champs as well. He's the GOAT, he can do what he wants, and that's why I love talking about this T1 lineup. Next we have Gumayusi. This is arguably his best tournament internationally, I should point out. He always seems to vary and do kind of iffy things at the World Championship. MSI, he was slightly underperforming, and he wasn't really that big carry this T1 team relies on during a regular season. Here, he is dominating. Highest KDA, highest amount of kills, highest CSM, highest DPM as well. There was more and more stats that he just topped, and I've not even covered them. He outright wins lane, and that's partially down to how Keria has also been playing at this World Championship. But he is just getting insanely fed early. And when he's getting that fed early, transitioning into the late game, where Zeus and Ona are also feeding into him with Faker, he is just getting absolutely God mode. And yes, that does not make much sense, but it's now a new term. Gumayusi is God mode at the moment, and he has been shut down. He had a kind of an iffy first game of their last series, but yet here he is, just stepping up the rest of the series and taking T1 to the finals. Just probably the best player, considering he has the most gold for his team. Lastly, we have Keria. This guy is absolutely insane, and the main reason that he's getting T1 ahead. He sits with the highest KDA among everyone at Worlds with an 11.4. He is setting up Gumayusi perfectly with 12 plus assist score. That's huge, and he arguably is just the best player right now across the entire tournament. Definitely MVP candidate worthy. In fact, both teams, DRX and T1, have massive MVP candidates, but let's be honest, Keria sits among the top. The stats do not lie as to how well he has performed, and he's even securing vision for the team that's just insane. He's doing it all, and he's not even playing engage heavy picks. The enchanters are where he is finding success. Sure, he has the worst champion in the world in Yumi in his big main 3, but he's still sitting atop with massive picks that no one's matching. He's brought out Heimerdinger here in this World Championship to match what DRX are doing. The fact that he's able to do that and his pool still be so untested, it's just so good to see. And you could quite easily see some random ass pick like a Yasuo bot lane for this T1 lineup, and Keria just find it easy. That could be what we end up seeing, but who knows. Let's move into this sort of play to describe how T1 get their leads and wins. We start this playoff with T1 and Ona shadowing Zeus in the bot lane. 10 minutes is on the clock, and the Malphite 369 is kind of trying to force Yone away from the wave, and he gets push. Yone goes NQ3, which forces the unstoppable force out of the Malphite, and a trade between top players happen. Poppy is a huge counter to Bel'Veth, as that steadfast presence just allows her to knock up the jungler and not allow her to get in. As such, that means that Malphite dies instantaneously. Now, Sylas obviously has got the early roam against a Ryze as he's able to push the wave in, but what we end up seeing is kind of a failed turret dive out of JDG, as the picture-in-picture shows here. The Yone ult goes right, and Poppy's able to charge the Sylas into the wall. Turret shot lands, Q3 from Yone, which means Ryze can come in and also set up another stun and allow Yone to get 2 free easy kills. But that is the last time we see T1 playing towards Zeus, as the rest of the game becomes a Gumayusi paradise. As T1 roam in a death ball of 3 of Keria and Ona between lanes once they get a push with this Baron. Now, Keria does go a bit too forward and is forced to blow Flash, but look, Lucian ult gets stolen and Keria is immediately peeling. So is Ona for Gumayusi. That's how this T1 squad play. They'll sacrifice for Guma, and what do you know, Zeus TP's in to try and protect his ADC. As one dies, another comes in, and Gumayusi is able to slay. He gets an easy double kill here, and it's just a chase down as Fakers join the fight, and it's just kill after kill for T1, and they're able to absolutely wipe the floor with this JDG lineup. And with Baron, they end the game at this point, after what could be considered a very close Game 2 of that series.